At the risk of sounding like a war veteran, I've seen some good crossovers in my day. Yeah, I'm joking, but it's actually really serious. Yeah, I've seen some really good crossovers, and I'm really just talking about the Jimmy Timmy Power Hour. Like, that definitely set my expectations super high for any crossovers with TV shows. I know Butch Hartman did a little short crossing over Danny Phantom and his other shows too, but it was kind of underwhelming. It made me realize it's actually really hard to do one of these and do one of them right. And you know what? There is a prime example. As I've been going through all these Cartoon Network shows, I've noticed that they have a different way of going about crossovers and such, in a way that's very distinct from Nickelodeon. You know, Nickelodeon made events out of these crossovers. I know more recently they had the Title Zone, which is SpongeBob crossing over with itself, which I don't think counts. Jimmy Timmy Power Hour, like, they never had the characters in the same atmosphere before that. Cartoon Network is a little bit different. Like, Ed, Edd n Eddy might occasionally have a Billy and Mandy reference. I know Foster's Home had a Ed, Edd n Eddy reference, and I saw Mandy be in Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends before. Like, it seems like their separation of universes is a lot more fluid than Nickelodeon's. That's gotta mean some good and some bad things at the same time. I mean, personally, I'm not seeing a lot of positives, but I admire that they work a lot closer together and the universe is a little more conjoined than the normal one. I remember hearing about the Kids Next Door crossover with Billy and Mandy before. Not sure if it was a commercial or what was going on, but I remember it happened. And not just as a one-off joke, they had a full episode about it. Sure, Jimmy Timmy Power Hour thought it needed to take an hour to do it, but I guess Cartoon Network, if you think you could fit this into a half-hour episode, go ahead. So without further ado, let's dive into the grim adventures of the Kids Next Door. So weirdly enough, this is not a double episode. This is not a feature film. This is a 20-minute special. And I mean, is it special if it doesn't necessarily have any big event going with it?
You just keep an eye on things while I'm gone. And keep your filthy mitts off my pants!
This actually shares a timeline with Billy and Mandy's Big Boogie Adventure because number 3 was chosen as the acting Reaper when Grim was actually fired in the special.
Who's gonna be the Grim Reaper if I'm not the Grim Reaper?
Oh, hey there! It's me, number 3. I just wanted to thank you, Boogie, for giving me this opportunity. Thanks to you, in addition to my charity work and love of rainbow monkeys, I can now also reap the immortal souls of grown-ups, collecting my dark harvest with a cold iron blade. Yeah, that'll be fun!
Since it doesn't follow along with Billy and Mandy's continuity, it's considered non-canon, which is kind of disappointing. It does, however, take place after the events of Codenamed Kids Next Door movie Operation Zero, because the new KND moon base is being shown. Oh, it's cool because Mr. Warburton is called Maxwell Warburton, which is a mix between Maxwell Adams' name from Grim Adventures and Mr. Warburton from KND, which is really cute to have that combo. Coincidentally, these shows are both the winners of the Big Pick from the Cartoon Network Cartoon Fridays block. I know that some of the kids from the Codenamed Kids Next Door are seen in Ennsville with the kids from Billy and Mandy, but it's unknown how, like, they'd even got there. But you know what, I guess they're just trying to combine the worlds, so that's fair for me, I guess. So when Harold leaves to buy underwear, Billy wears his dad's lucky pants, despite being told not to. Billy accidentally gets Grim's scythe stuck in his pants in a really off-putting way. Weird way to start off this crossover, guys. And needs help fixing them before his dad gets home. He calls Ed, Edd n Eddy's pesky problem fixers.
Got a problem that's pesky? We'll fix her for just one lousy quarter. What do you mean you're broke? Hey, if you're looking for charity, call Kids Next Door.
But Billy doesn't have any money, so Eddie tells him to call the Kids Next Door since, quote-unquote, they're cheap. This is already a really funny reference. Like, immediately I was worried because I was like, oh, it doesn't seem like, this doesn't really feel like a crossover. It feels like a Billy and Mandy episode, but the fact that they called them right off the bat is already funny. But if you guys already had the Ed, Edd n Eddy, why didn't you just incorporate them in it too? Whatever, missed opportunity, but it's beyond me, I guess. When the KND arrive to fix the pants, they find out that they need 2x4 technology, so number 1 dresses up as Billy to prevent Billy's dad from finding out about his pants.
Wow, great disguise, number 1. You look exactly like Billy.
That is Billy.
Why do you have a tomato strapped to your face?
Number 1 is just insistent that he's like one of the best undercover people, and it's really funny because I'm curious how this is going to translate to the standards of Billy and Mandy. Billy and Mandy is a lot more existential and dark and has things happen for the sake of humor. And Kids Next Door definitely has like a more grounded approach to their stuff. Like they usually end on a good note. They seem to follow more logic than Billy and Mandy. So yeah, number 1 insists on staying while the rest of Sector V take Billy to the KND Deep Sea Lab to fix his pants. Meanwhile, Mandy shows up at Billy's house and immediately knows number 1 is not Billy.
No, you're not. What have you done with him?
I told you. Hey! Stop that!
I love how number 1 actually attempts to convince her that she is, you know, knowing that number 1 doesn't actually know who this girl is. And I like how he seems so sure of himself right before this, and of course Mandy of all people showing up. This is like ridiculous. She ends up capturing number 1 and tortures him until he tells Mandy what's going on with the KND. And we actually feel real concern for Nigel Uno because we know that the grim adventures of Billy and Mandy can get really dark and death can easily happen in this. So I immediately am worried about it because those kind of stakes don't easily translate to Kids Next Door, which is a lot more grounded. Meanwhile, the rest of Sector V are flying to Billy in the Deep Sea Lab when they get an urgent message from number 362. She's informing them that delightful children from down the lane, their usual enemy, are using a delightfulization machine. What? How did they make that up? And they are going to turn children into their delightful slate. Sector V reluctantly takes Billy on the mission because that's more important, I guess, and
Pretty lights! Does this one make pudding? Wow!
Let me try that.
Billy mistakes the delightful machine for a bathroom. Oh my gosh. This is funny though because they take Billy's stupidity to a whole new level when it's actually on a serious mission to interfere with something like this.
Excuse me, are you in line for the bathroom?
Why no?
Like, that's a really funny crossover. So it ends up fusing him, the Lucky Pants, Grim Scythe, and the Delightful Children into the Delightful Reaper, a giant version of the Grim Reaper containing all the Delightful Children and Billy in this instance.
Hey! Can you guys slow down? Just talking at the same time is really hard.
An odd combination of people, for sure. Meanwhile, Grim comes to Billy's house and mistakes number 1 for Billy, which is ridiculous. And you actually fell for it?
Billy, give me back my sight.
I keep telling you I'm not Billy, and I don't have your stupid scythe!
I ain't falling for that, Billy.
Grim falls to the ground saying that the horrible children have fused with his scythe and that he feels that they're strangely evil and delightful. So Grim doesn't really know what to make of this, and it's probably the one and only instant where the Grim world reacts to the KND world like it's weird. I mean, for the most part, the KND are the ones in the strange territory here. So Sector V returns to the moon base where Mandy is disguised as number 1. So she comes out and she's like, I'm number 1. And Mandy looks nothing like number 1. She's not even bald. But only number 5 seems to pick up on the fact that she's an imposter. Mandy convinces everybody that number 5 is actually crazy and losing her mind.
This is number 1. So, who are you?
Obviously, this girl is delirious after her last mission, sir. Perhaps she should be taken down to the med lab while I explain the situation to you.
Good idea, number 1.
Say what?
I didn't realize that the Kids Next Door world was going to be this naive to this, but they genuinely like lock number 5 away as like a mental patient. Soon Mandy actually becomes a ruler of the KND, renaming it the MND, the Mandy New Dictator, which is not clever. Number 1 and Grim arrive to the moon base where Grim finds out that number 1 isn't Billy, and Mandy imprisons both of them.
It's Billy!
Don't be ridiculous, number 3.
And what have you done to our moon base, Mandy?
It's just always weird to me how Mandy is somehow the antagonist but the main character a lot of times. Like, she just switches to its convenience, and I can't tell if it's a good writing choice or a bad one. Like, I can't tell how intentional it is. Especially in moments like these where we're taking two shows and are aware of the good people on both shows, and then she makes a switch. Like, I wish she was at least on their side with this, like she wasn't the big boogie adventure. So the Delightful Reaper actually starts to assimilate children. After escaping, Number 1 and Grimm decide to fuse together and become the Bone of Barnacles and create a giant skeleton samurai to battle the Delightful Reaper and Mandy.
Let's do this.
Sunglasses? Are you going to a fight or a fashion show?
Just get on with it.
If you say so.
The giant manned robot, which is piloted by Mandy, Number 3 and Number 4 come into the battle as well. Mandy's robot begins to loose until Number 1 and Grimm show up to fight the Delightful Reaper. Okay, so I guess Number 1 and Grimm from Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy are the two morally correct characters. I'm losing track of all of this. Harold's Lucky Pants are impervious to lasers, apparently. Oh my gosh, so these pants are special, I guess. I feel sad that we don't get to see Billy so much. Like, I would wish this was a longer special just so there's a little bit more intention behind it, because so far it feels like we kind of got a moment with every main character and it petered off into a plot that became more joke-ridden, as opposed to anybody having a character arc that's consistent. Like, it's an ensemble show that just ends with no plot. When the Delightful Reaper is distracted by Number 1 and Grimm, Mandy purposely fuses herself with the Delightful Reaper, giving her control of all of it, and she is trying to destroy Number 1 and Grimm. However, Harold arrives, which is so random, and he demands the return of his Lucky Pants. Harold removes the Lucky Pants and takes them away.
I wear the pants around here. Me! My pants! Me!
Without the Lucky Pants, the Delightful Reaper, controlled by Mandy, is defenseless, and the Skeleton Samurai finishes it off, freeing all the kids inside of it. Mandy is taken away from the kids next door, and eventually she escapes, vowing revenge, even though this will never happen, and the special is pretty short. And everything goes back to the way it was, except for Number 1.
You are in big trouble for taking my Lucky Pants, Billy!
But I'm not Billy!
Oh, I'm not falling for that one again, mister!
Who gets dragged away by Harold, believing him to be Billy, and he is punished. Okay, so at least one thing worked out for them. And Billy, who pretends to be Number 1, only for everyone to not be fooled at all, and they throw things at him, which is a really funny note to end on. I hate that this entire thing just feels like a joke. It feels like the 5-minute crossover that happened with Danny Phantom and Fairly Odd Parents quicker than it feels like the Jimmy Timmy Power Hour. It feels like the stakes, nobody's really at risk in this. It just seems like something was invented for the time being, and it doesn't affect internally or externally any of the characters involved. If anything, this special could have been done by a bunch of kids online and putting it together. I'm a little ashamed to think this is official, because it could have done a lot more justice in this. Hey, even That's So Sweet Life of Hannah Montana did it better, and Hannah Montana wasn't even in the first 2 parts of that special. All around, this feels like a giant waste of time. If anything, I would like to see Flapjack enter Chowder's world. Maybe regular show go into Adventure Time. Anything beside the 2 most wacky shows with the most unnecessary plot points. I definitely think I might have seen this when I was little, but didn't remember it on purpose, because this was not interesting. I think at best, it's one of the worst episodes of both shows on their own right. They cancel each other out, nothing feels memorable, nothing feels like it matters, and it feels like we're all just telling one big joke for a half hour. I mean, it happens so quickly. Like, within 5 minutes, I think they have the characters crossing over, none of them eager to get to know one another, nothing builds up to anything. If you guys ever come across this special, I recommend not to watch it, honestly. It brought the quality of both shows down a little bit for me. Makes me feel like they didn't really care that much, especially when I'm thinking about the Jimmy Timmy Power Hour and how they had to go to great lengths to kind of cross over the different animation styles. Like, this didn't only not do that, it also, I don't know, it was a less quality version of the episode. But hey, feel free to disagree with me. I'm the 2000s content expert, which I'm not claiming to be, and I say it wasn't so great. But you know what? I'm totally open to new opinions, new perspectives. Go off, tell me what you think. Some of these jokes were definitely well worth it, but honestly, in the small instances that Ed, Edd n Eddy shows up in other shows, or Mandy shows up in one of the other Cartoon Network shows, those are instantaneously better than this entire special as a whole. But thank you guys so much for watching. This is Johnny2000, and I'll see you guys next time.